how do you do the work without doing the work, or you facilitate, you build a community. And I remember how he built school, and I took a note on this. It was like he called it world building.
Like a video game.
Yeah. And he's
Mm,
like, we have a community. The community, within a community, there's stars, people that emerge naturally. And those
yeah.
people then people look up to, and you can start removing yourself because people look up to them. And then
Mm,
those people then create a podcast. And the podcast creates content, which then becomes like a newsletter. And
right.
then once you have a people that are bought into the mission, you can do merch, and the merch brings people in, and it's a whole ecosystem. So
Yeah, yeah.
so then he started like I remember thinking like, how do I build a world around like ad creatives? Like nobody cares about creatives, but how do you create like a mission or some kind of movement? So
Edu
this is how he broke it down. He's like, Hugh Hefner was world building. He had a newsletter, which was a magazine. He had a podcast, which was a TV show. He
yeah.
had a mastermind, which were the clubhouses, and he had a card, which was a subscription. That's a world he created. So then how do you bring this into your product, into your business?
How do you take time to do this from your day? Because the way that like if I look at the amount of time I'm spending, I think it's like it's easily thir like 12, 13-hour days, but I just never end up taking out time to review or reread like notes that I've taken like this or any like insight that I've gathered. Like it usually just goes in a doc and just never gets read. So how do you do that? Like, do you have a structure around that? Do you have a something around that?
Um, it's like, what am I trying to solve? And then I think about that. I'm like, who's already solved it? Have I already learned how they solved it? Because if I have to figure out who already solved it, then that's a lot of research. But if I already know who solved it, which I've already taken notes on, I can go back in and the same way like I kind of queried that um so like this page, right? Oh, I know it's in this document somewhere. Like I'm finding this like inspiration document. Where did I make this one time before?
Yeah,
Because these things will give me inspiration at the right time. And notice I just looked for the word world building. There's only four queries.
yeah,
And
yeah,
all of these are like, there's this one, and then there's like, it's one little section. So as I'm thinking about this, pretty much all of my days, like thinking through this, and I think in a 2D plane, but by thinking about this, I think about how everything is interconnected. Once I see it, like I then can then like put it into motion. For example, I don't think I have to do any of the marketing because I don't want to do the marketing. I think if the mission that I'm going after is people are trying to displace editors, and I'm trying to give them an opportunity by empowering them with custom tools and like pay per project and kind of those nature, why don't you have like, and if you have an army of editors, right now we have 35 freelancers, we have 500 people on a wait list, but I can't even give enough work to the 35 to get to the 500. What if, and I'm seeing this happening with WAP and like Iman Gadzhi and Andrew Tate, like the clipping. People would clip people's content and then do the distribution for them. I was like, if you have an army of people that can create, why don't you let them create and pay them for creating? They do the marketing for you. The more users they bring through the marketing, assuming it works, the more work they create for themselves by giving them projects, which means that they can continue to create marketing for you. So all I'm doing is I'm orchestrating and facilitating, right? So then the more editors that you get, the more users you get, the more users and more customers and more editors, and the cycle continues. So all I need to do is just facilitate, give them a challenge, right? So then I'm like, okay, how does this actually work in an ecosystem? Because like this isn't a one-to-one flow. Now I'm thinking in funnels and flywheels and network effects where like I'm like, okay, people are making a pretty good income on a project basis with us. Their income is slowing down right now because there's no marketing of new people coming in. So what happens? People start churning because your attention disappears. But people enjoy working with us. But because they're freelancers, they need to like create work for themselves. And like the new model we've created is like I'm still bleeding money, but I don't bleed as much as I used to bleed because I'm paying per project. Um, but the downside is if I cannot fulfill on new projects for them, then people churn, and then you have to continue to like educate. But if like people can create more work for themselves and you do the economic incentives for them, why like If they like the mission, they like the work, why not like let them create? And they're creators. They can create.
Yeah.
And when the best videos start trending on TikTok and Instagram, I can repost those on my LinkedIn. I can repost those as ads if I want to run ads in the future. You can start doing things like affiliates. People can put codes in their bio, and if they get a sale from their bio, then they
Yeah.
get kickback. So even more economic advantage. I'd rather pay people than a platform. That's the philosophy.
Mhm.
So then it's like, how do you create a machine? How do you do the world building? Right? And then like, that's what I'm thinking about here. It's like, okay, what would I need to do to create an ecosystem? Well, I need a community. I can't do this on ClickUp because ClickUp is like very one-dimensional. Like it's just not fun to communicate in ClickUp or
Yeah.
even in Slack, right? Like I don't enjoy this. So there should be some sort of community, Discord and school, and it should be like around people that are in the network, talking to each other. One thing everyone's been asking me for is merch.
Yeah.
I want to wear other people's stuff. I would love to just wear Creative Launch stuff, and if other people wear it, then like great. From
Yeah.
a newsletter standpoint, like I need to
I,
start.
I would want some merch for the creative launch. That would be amazing. What kind
Nice.
of will you build?
Um, like
Shape.
newsletter, I don't know what I would write about, but it would be like whatever is happening in the community. And then the podcast, I have ideas of what I would do with this, but I'm like, this was completely pulled from here, right? Like I didn't come up with this, but I'm exploring this idea. Like, okay, I don't have to think about what those things are. They're there. So and then I broke it down into like there's two systems. You have a community machine and a content machine. What if I don't have to produce content? What if the community can produce a content and then the content feeds more people into the community? For instance, I made a comment here, like, I think it'd be fun. Like, I want to build a relationship with all the editors and all the talent. And like, my vision with all of this is I want an office here in Denver. And when people fly in to visit Colorado, I want to have an office like maybe 25, 30 minutes away from the airport where people can drive in and it's going to be like an internet cafe in Japan or like a library where there's computers that are open. People can log into their computer and just start editing and making money while they're here just to edit with our computers. I get to hang out with people. It's like a cool little vibe, but like you become a hub for like people to come hang out creatively, right? And I was like, okay. And then I was like, I remember I watched this one Twitch stream where the CEO of Twitch would be streaming video games. And I was like, it'd be cool if like I dog food my own product and I'm the one editing my own product. And I show people that I'm editing it. And while I'm editing it, I can do Q&As with the talents and that becomes
Yeah.
content. And I get to try the process and I can see the inefficiencies with it and like A/B test it. The community will do the clipping and then like when people participate in the community, I can then share that outside of the community and that becomes content or whatever it is, you know? So it's like, that's all I know from this point. Like, I want to just kind of like figure out what are the pieces. And then, like, if you get enough of the right people in, we're all orchestrating together. And like,
Yeah.
that kind of goes into like where I was working on, like, what are some touch points that like you need 7 touch points to convert someone? Like, what are touch points that I can create, right? And I was like, again, this is like still the idea phase, but this to me is like very clearly defined. Like this this army of editors is going to be the golden goose. Like it's just community. The community will
Yeah.
be the customers. The customers will give you new community, and all I do is just facilitate and listen and just shut up and like let people like just do it. And I, like you said, create the petri dish. Make sure there's no bacteria happening, right? You remove the bacteria, but you let everything else thrive and like it has to evolve.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you see, like this idea was like pulled from this company, then learned like taken from this idea of world building, and I'm like putting them together, and then I'm like, well, I don't have to rewatch all of the content. I can just rewatch this subset, and I know like, okay, this episode, minute 1 hour and 43 minutes, like cool. I got my information. I'm getting out, and I have a very good feeling it will work. I don't know how it'll work, but I know it'll work because it's just empowering people versus
Yeah.
like I have to create the content. I don't have enough time or energy to create the content. Like for me, this is fun. Like I'd rather talk to you and do these calls and like sit in front of a YouTube channel, like fucking talk. Like I just don't want to do that. But like, if it gives you an idea and then you can like create something from that idea and then we can then create the next thing and the next thing. Like it's just so much more fun for everyone than like I don't want to sit there and write a LinkedIn post unless I'm inspired to. It just is, I don't use AI to write it either.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Makes
So
sense.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's the balance of like, what's your goal? And then once you have enough information, like get out and build it. And when you run out of information, like collect it and then like go back in and out. Like not a telescope, but like it's like the magnifying glass or like in
Mhm.
science, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to be at 32 zoom in or like two, like we're like zooming in and out.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So yeah. Okay.